What's up, guys? Today we're going to go through the review of the Torque Tank M1 Sled. We've had these sleds at our gym for about 3 years. They've had daily and weekly use here at our gym, so I want to give you some insight into how we program them in workouts, how they've held up, everything that we think about these sleds, and talk about whether I still think the Torque Tank M1 Sled is worth it or not. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, talking about the Tank M1 Sled from Torque Fitness. Like I said, we've had this in our gym for over 3 years. We use it every single week with clients, with a lot of the young athletes that we train. So I want to go over my thoughts, my opinions on it, give you a full in-depth review, the quality of it, how to use it, how we program it. We'll talk about that later in the video and talk about if it's still worth purchasing or not. If you guys are interested in purchasing this sled, I do have an affiliate discount where you can save 40 bucks off your sled. You can use the code FITGRIND at torquefitness.com. I'll leave the link and the discount code down in the comment section below. Like I said, if you're interested in buying one of these after the review today, go check it out, save yourself some money. I do want to be upfront that I do get a small commission from that, but that does not affect this review in any way. Let me give you my full, honest opinion on whether I think this is worth it or not. So overall, let's start off with, how has it held up over the last 3 years in our gym? We own a personal training and small group training gym. We train lots of young athletes, and we're constantly using these sleds. We have all rubber flooring. We don't have turf. We didn't really want to put in turf, and we're looking for a sled option that we could use, and Torque was really the best fit. Like I said, we use these consistently every single week in our training. They get a lot of use. And overall, I think you can really program it a lot of different ways in your training to add some variety, to add a different conditioning tool, and to give you sled work in your program. We've had zero issues with the Torque Tank M1. There's been no maintenance that's really been required. Every once in a while, you do have to just pump up the tires. Not a big deal. But other than that, it functions just the way that it did on day one. It has a good amount of resistance, has good construction. So overall, has some metal components to it. It does have plastic casing, but this plastic is super durable. And overall, it's very easy to adjust. You can adjust your weight. So some of the features on the sled, you have your high handles here. You have the low tow bar down here. Personally, I like to push from the high handles, but a lot of times we're having people push it down and back. They'll push it from the high handles down. They'll push it from the low handles back. You do have a tow hook where you can optionally add ropes or straps or different things to add different sled drags, and just intensify your workouts or add different variety to your workouts. And then you do have your resistance lever where it can go completely all the way down to neutral. You can go to 1, 2, or 3. I think for most people, we leave it at 3 whenever we're using it. Sometimes we'll bump it down, and you would never really use it at neutral. You always want some sort of ability to have some resistance, but neutral is good if you're moving it around and you don't want to push it around. And it is very easy to put it in a neutral, and you can push that side. We do also always weigh down the sled. So you have your weight hook here where you can add weight. And yes, adding weight does make it more difficult, but a lot of what adding the weight will do is it'll keep that front tire down. It'll keep it from popping up because this sled is heavy, yes, but it's not super heavy. If you're going max force, especially on these higher handles, you're going to want at least, 45 to 90 pounds on that sled. It's going to add some resistance, but also more importantly, it's going to help keep that tire down so that as you're pushing, you can have a nice consistent push. And there's no issues with using that sled to where that tire is popping up. A lot of times we get the questions asked of, is it heavy? Is it challenging? And does it provide enough resistance for all athletes? And you can change your resistance, like I mentioned here. You can change the amount of weight that you put on here. But really, because of the way that it's designed, you're pushing essentially against a brake. So the harder that you push on it, the more resistance it's going to give back to you. So I do think that it is plenty heavy for doing sled sprints, doing sled work, doing sled drags. And if you need more of a challenge, you can always add more weights, or you can just push it harder. So it is very heavy. It works really well. We'll talk about how we program it later in the video, about different ways you can use it rather than just pushing it down and back and doing intervals. You can use it monostructurally. You can use it a lot of different ways. So I think, yes, it does get heavy. I think overall, if you're looking for a sled where you don't want to add turf, where you can do it on any surface, I think this is a really good option. We've used it outside. I've used it on turf or artificial field. I've used it in the grass. I even take it outside a lot of times when it's nicer outside, and I'll use it on the concrete in our parking lot. And then obviously we use it here on the gym floor all the time. So it works really well on all those surfaces. It really is, it claims to be an all surface sled. And I would say that it really is an all surface sled. It's probably not going to work well in gravel. That's probably going to be an area where you're not going to use it. You want nice flat surfaces. But if you have a flat surface, I think it's really going to work well and provide the resistance that you're looking for, because it's providing that resistance on that brake, or sorry, providing that resistance on that front tire through a brake. So we've talked about some of the pros of the Torque Tank M1. Let's talk about some of the cons. And I really don't have much to say. I've really enjoyed using it the last 3 years. I love using it with clients. Clients love using it, or love hate using it. It's very challenging. But I would say that, one thing that you could say that could be a con is just having to inflate the tires every so often. Really, we use it almost every single day here at the gym, and very seldomly do we have to inflate the tires. So don't think that it's something that you have to inflate the tires like every week. Very seldomly are you going to have to inflate those tires. I will also say that if you're looking to do really, really heavy sled pushes where you might only be doing 10 or 20 yards at a time, this does have a max resistance as far as how hard you can push on it, how much weight you can load it up. So there is a ceiling to that. But for most people, this is going to be plenty challenging. And like I said, if you need more resistance, you just push it harder, or you can always load up more weights. If you're using bumper plates, you can fit about 2 45-pound bumper plates on this hook. If you're using iron plates, you can at least fit 3, 4 45-pound plates. Or we even have some 100-pound Rogue deep dish plates that we'll use, that we'll throw on this if we're looking to add more resistance. But overall, I really don't have any cons to say about this. I really love this sled. I think it adds different variety to your program, which we'll talk about next, how we kind of use it. But if you use a rower or a skier or a bike or a treadmill, this is different to where you can get some good anaerobic conditioning, really jack your heart rate up, and you can use it a lot of different ways. So let's talk about that next, how we personally use it, how we program it. Obviously, you can program it for an interval. You can push the sled down and back. You can sprint, and you can go really hard, and you work anaerobically. That's a really good way to mix it in. A lot of times what we'll do as well is we'll mix it in monostructurally with some strength training, and it works really well to mix it with upper body or lower body strength training. So, when we're training clients, we keep them moving throughout the workouts. We'll mix in lots of intervals. We have rowers and skiers and bikes and treadmills and obviously sleds. We can mix that conditioning in. Even in our group settings, we can mix a lot of conditioning in, and a monostructurally is where it works really well. Or what you could also do is take a lower body strength exercise and mix it with the sled just to make it harder. You could do a set of squats and then do a sled push down and back. You could do some leg extensions and do a sled push down and back. You could do some upper body work and then push the sled down and back. It works really well monostructurally. I really like doing that. It's just a good way to make the workout fun, to spice it up a little bit, but also get some higher intensity conditioning. Another way that we really like to use it is in circuits or AMRAPs or EMOMs with the sled. So say that you're doing an EMOM, every minute on the minute type circuit, where maybe you're doing the treadmill, you're doing the rower, and you're doing the sled. And maybe you're doing 45 seconds on each exercise. You rotate for 15 seconds. And at the top of the next minute, you start your next exercise. So maybe you start off on the treadmill, you run for 45 seconds. You got 15 seconds to get over the rower. You row for 45 seconds, hop off the rower, get over to the sled. You push it down and back for 45 seconds. That's a really awesome conditioning structure that we use all the time, and that I personally use all the time, because it keeps it fun. It keeps the conditioning intense, and also gives you a lot of variety with your programming. So there's so many ways that you can program this in your workouts. I think this really works well for people that are looking to have a sled at their house. Maybe you have a driveway or you have a street that you can push the sled on. It's going to work awesome in that situation for a home gym or a garage gym. It really works well in a commercial setting. If you own a gym, if you have a fitness studio, or you have a small group training gym, I think it really shines in those areas too. We love to use it in our groups or with our youth conditioning and strength training. It works really well as a station to mix some conditioning in, especially because you can keep this heavy and you can have some really high intensity sled push work. And that works great for any sort of programming that you're doing. So overall, I highly recommend this sled. Over the last 3 years, we've had no issues with it. And, we really look forward to continuing to use it. And it's a big part of our workouts that, we add all the time. And clients really enjoy using it. Like I said, it's a love-hate. It's love-hate because it's challenging, but it's fun, it's different, it's not boring, it really breaks the mundane, and I highly recommend it. So, like I said, if you guys are interested in this tank, I do have an affiliate link that you guys can use. I'll leave it down in the comment section below, and you can use the code FITGRIND at torquefitness.com for 40 bucks off your sled. So make sure that you use that, save yourself some money. And if you guys have questions on this sled, let me know down in the comment section below. I love to answer any questions that you have. Thanks for watching the video today, guys. And if you guys are looking for more gym equipment reviews, head over to fitgrindreviews.com. That is my website where I post blogs about workout equipment, where I also have special discounts with brands. So go check it out if you're looking for more reviews on good gym equipment. So thanks for watching the video, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one.